Tonight, mask up Melbourne. The Victorian state government orders millions of people to wear face coverings in public as the inquiry into the hotel quarantine scheme begins. Plus, the COVID-19 conspiracies, vandalism seen across the country, calling the pandemic a hoax. Also tonight, violent scenes out of the US as Black Lives Matter groups clash with police. Kanye West breaks down in tears in his first rally, with his public rant on Twitter sparking genuine concerns about the rapper's mental health. Scott Morrison slams plans for a Black Lives Matter rally in Sydney. We chat one-on-one with reality TV superstar Evie Jones, and the final farewell for the Queen of the Skies. Qantas says goodbye to its 747 jumbo jet. 6 News starts now. Good evening. Mask up Melbourne. That's the message from authorities after Victoria became the first state in Australia to make face coverings mandatory for anyone in public, as revealed exclusively by 6 News hours before the decision was made official by Premier Daniel Andrews. Here's what you need to know right now. The decision was in order from 11:59pm Wednesday night and applies to anyone in the Greater Melbourne area or the Mitchell Shire. There are exemptions, for example, anyone under 12 does not need to wear one, or for practical reasons like exercising. However, according to Victoria Police, you must carry them at all times, and if you don't, you will be fined $200. Staying with the pandemic, an inquiry has been told that Victoria's quarantine bungle could be linked to every active case in the state right now. The Victorian Hotel Quarantine Inquiry will look at what decisions were made and who made them, with the system now infamous for having a security guard allegedly sleeping with someone inside. Premier Dan Andrews says he's confident it will produce answers when the findings are reported back to the state government in late September. And remote learning returns due to Victoria's second wave. Senior reporter Darby Travers joins us now live from Melbourne. Good evening, Darby. Some parents weren't too happy about it.
Yeah, good evening, Leo. A survey conducted shows us that the majority of parents labelled the return to online remote learning torture. And it seems plenty of kids also agree. A couple of students we spoke to say they would much rather miss school altogether than attend these online classes. Let's hope that everything goes smoothly this time around during Remote Learning 2.0. Of course, you may recall that plenty of schools had several issues the first time around with internet connections, as well as confusion about tasks, but hopefully none of that happens now. Now, for students that have already returned to face-to-face learning, there will be strict restrictions in place among all secondary students, and those in Year 6 will have to wear face masks. However, teachers will not be made to. Just quickly, Leo, the latest we're hearing from the Daniel Andrews and his government, remote learning will continue until at least August 19. Leo?
Darby Travers live in Melbourne, thank you. There's concern about conspiracy theories spreading across Australia almost as fast as the virus, with graffiti seen across the New South Wales south coast. Lincoln Holmes has the details.
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen large amounts of vandalism on statues, buildings and even monuments right around Australia. These pictures were taken right along the New South Wales coast, and it shows vandalism on power boxes and even rental signs for houses up for lease or even sale. A large number of people along the New South Wales coast are calling for action to be taken against the people graffitiing the signs, power boxes, houses and even cars. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
Donald Trump has held his first coronavirus briefing in months, only days after the fallout from his disastrous interview with Fox News Sunday continues. The US president infamously cancelled them in April after labelling them a waste of time after being repeatedly called out by reporters for some of his comments. The briefings were also where he made his infamous comments about potentially injecting bleach to help with the treatment of COVID-19. Trump has now said whether you like a mask or not, they do have an impact, but it's unclear how long these briefings will last for. In his interview with Fox's Chris Wallace, the president made plenty of controversial comments including that America has one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. Distressing Orwellian scenes are emerging tonight from the United States, with protesters in Portland being dragged away by armed individuals and put into unmarked vehicles. Let's go straight to our foreign affairs reporter, Jack Hahn. Jack, who were these people?
Leah, they were federal agents, but that wasn't clear to the protesters in Portland. What they saw were heavily armed, unidentified men leave a car, apprehend a suspect, then take them back to that same car, a van, unidentified, and taken back to a location unknown. Now, they do say that this was a federal agency, not the FBI, but potentially a customs agency or one that protects courts, and the federal attorney general, Bill Barr, has said he's happy to roll out this same measure in other cities that still have protests. In other US news, John Lewis, a senator pivotal in the civil rights movement, has died, aged 80. He lost a battle to cancer, but he was very, very pivotal in the battle in the civil rights movements in the 1960s, so much so he was brutally bashed and beaten by a club by law enforcement in Selma, Alabama in the 1960s. That left severe skull fractures, but he went on to be a senator, a vocal critic of many presidents, including George Bush Jr. and President Trump. He will be sorely missed. In other US news, Kanye West has announced that he's rerunning for the US election, although it remains unclear if he can actually win, as the Republicans and Democrats have already chosen their candidates, and he has missed a number of crucial deadlines in some states. But parallels have been made by the fact that Donald Trump first announced he was running for president in the 1980s, but didn't run until 2016. So who knows what the future holds for Kanye West and the West Wing. Leo.
Jack, thank you. And let's stay with Kanye West for a brief moment. The rapper has broken down in tears during his first presidential rally held in South Carolina. Take a look.
My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me. My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West. I will kill my daughter. I will kill my daughter. And they said to me, you can't tell them about the story. We're going to lose your goddamn. And endorphins in your mind that are similar to when you have an orgasm and are also a cousin and a sister of heroin. And I would drive to Calabasas high as a motherfucker. When Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
Y'all, we leaving right now.
And that's just some of what he had to say on that night. Now, in the days after that, West bizarrely ranted on Twitter, with some people now genuinely concerned for his mental health. The rapper and now presidential candidate seemingly writing that convicted sex offender Bill Cosby is actually innocent, while also writing that he is divorcing his wife Kim Kardashian, referring to her as a white supremacist. Now, he also referred to himself as the future president, although many still doubt he's actually running, including Ticker TV's US political correspondent Bruce Wolby.
I don't believe he's in the race in any serious fashion, and I really hope that he finds the support, counseling, advice that he needs to get on with his life and do what he wants to do, even if it includes politics in the future. But just let's get back to some reality as far as what a presidential race involves. You have to wonder whether there is some collusion between Kanye West and Donald Trump, where West enters the race in certain places and is able to draw some votes that would otherwise go to Joe Biden.
Checking some other stories making news tonight, and Prime Minister Scott Morrison has labelled plans for a Black Lives Matter rally to be held in Sydney next week as appalling. Organisers say it will still go ahead despite the PM's wishes. This all comes after Black Lives Matter rallies were held across the country like a couple of months ago, with confusion about whether cases were actually linked to it or not. Also making news, Donald Trump has admitted he may not accept the results of the US election if he loses to his Democratic rival Joe Biden. In a now viral interview with Fox News Sunday, as we mentioned before, the president said he's not a good loser and is fully prepared to contest the election results. In a new poll conducted reported by ABC News and the Washington Post, shows Biden 15 points ahead of the current Commander-in-Chief. And Chemist Warehouse has been slammed for continuing to sell News Corp mastheads after controversial commentator Andrew Bolt wrote in the Herald Sun, one of those papers, that masks are not supported by science after Daniel Andrews' announcement. In addition to that, IGA has also done a deal with News Corp, selling their papers for free during the entirety of July. Reality TV superstar Evie Jones has revealed exclusively to 6 News that she did not enjoy her time in the jungle when she appeared on the hit show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The ex-Goggleboxer was the runner-up of the 2019 season after leaving Gogglebox in late 2018.
Well, for me, it wasn't fun. So, I mean, I'm straight up and very honest about that. I did not enjoy much of it at all. I'm really glad I did it. So saying that I didn't enjoy it doesn't mean I wish I hadn't done it, because I'm really, really proud of myself for getting all the way through.
And Jones also spoke about her new podcast, shining a spotlight on women in history.
There wasn't a lot of history books with women's stories in them. So we thought we would help that out a little bit. So we wanted to do a podcast about chicks in history. So we came up with the fantastic name Chick Street. And what we do is we every week talk about one woman in history. We research her, not necessarily someone that you'd have heard of, but there is enough information out there that people just simply don't know about. So we kind of focus on that.
Just before we go to break, you've probably noticed our studio is looking a little different tonight. Yes, I am broadcasting from home as we all try to restrict our movements here in Victoria due to the COVID-19 outbreak. I can't tell you how long this may be for, but rest assured we will still have our weekly bulletin with the same trusted team every Sunday night at 7:45. We are going to take that break now. Coming up next on 6 News, we'll recap our top story, plus the AFL mourns the loss of former Richmond player Shane Tuck, also the hostage situation that ended when the Ukrainian president endorsed a film from Joaquin Phoenix, and the final farewell to the Queen of the Skies. Qantas says goodbye to its 747 jumbo jet. Stay with us.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob, and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Rob, and Robbo. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m, right here on Ticker TV.
Welcome back to 6 News, recapping our top story this Sunday, and masks are now mandatory for anyone in public in the Greater Melbourne area and the Mitchell Shire. This coming as cases continue to climb in Victoria, with Daniel Andrews revealing that nearly 9 in 10 people did not self-isolate when awaiting their COVID-19 tests. Also making news this Sunday, the AFL is mourning the loss of former Richmond player Shane Tuck. He played 173 games for the Tigers, the son of Michael Tuck there. If you're anyone you know needs help, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. A hostage situation has ended when the Ukrainian president endorsed a film from Joaquin Phoenix. A 44-year-old gunman armed with an automatic rifle and a grenade surrendered to police and released 13 hostages after the country's President Volodymyr Zelensky recommended the animal rights film documentary Earthlings, narrated by Phoenix, that ended an hours-long standoff after the gunman seized a bus and demanded that dozens of government officials admit to being terrorists, according to The Guardian. Twitter has cracked down on thousands of conspiracy theorist groups linked to the far-right group QAnon. In recent months, QAnon has started to resemble an online cult, with followers believing that a person known only as Q has informations claiming that celebrities work together with governments, including Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, to to engage in child trafficking and to secretly remove Donald Trump from office. Several Republican members for Congress, candidates rather, are part of QAnon, with members using the hashtag WWG1WGA, which stands for Where We Go One, We Go All. Let's quickly check the weather now. Brisbane 22, Sydney rain 16, Canberra 14, Melbourne 13, Adelaide 15, Perth 23, Darwin 32, Townsville getting to a sunny top of 26, Wollongong 16, Ballarat just 11, and Hobart 12 degrees. Finally tonight, it's time to say farewell to the Queen of the Skies, with Qantas farewelling its 747 jumbo jet. As it left the country, the plane drew a kangaroo over the Pacific Ocean. But what did the final flight look like for those on the ground? Jack Hahn has the story.
The 747 has been in the Qantas fleet for almost half a decade. It's flown to all around the world, Los Angeles, Hong Kong, you name it, it's been there. And unfortunately, it's been retired due to economic troubles heightened by the coronavirus. It was supposed to be retired in a few years, but now with the decline of air travel, they've brought forward the retirement. So this airplane, it took off from Sydney, it came around here, did a magnificent swipe around the school, and now it's heading off to Los Angeles, where it will go further on to Arizona, the airplane graveyard, and end of an era for Qantas.
Jack Hahn reporting there. Now, this is the part of the bulletin where I'd usually sign off and I'll tell you what's coming up next on Melfeed, but tonight, sadly, I cannot do that. Due to ongoing copyright issues, melfeed.video has been shut down. I'd like to thank Michael for his hard work doing the station and also letting me be a part of it. The rebroadcasts have really helped my channel grow, and I really thank him for that amazing opportunity, and continue to support his work and all the other community TV work. That would be greatly appreciated by all the team, and my heart goes out to him and everyone involved with Melfeed Video. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date on all our social pages at 6 News AU. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Stay home, stay safe. Good night.